Hello friends, I'm Miss Deanna and I'm here at the Bell Road branch of the Newburgh-Chandler Public Library. And we're here to imagine a story. Imagine a story. What will you be? Where will you go? What will you see? Come and have an adventure with me. Today's story begins like all stories with, once upon a time, there was a crow. And that crow had traveled very far away from home, and it was a very hot, sunny day. He was so tired, and he was so thirsty, and he looked everywhere for a stream or a mud puddle or something to get a drink. Well, finally, in the back of someone's yard, he saw a pitcher on a table in a garden, and there was a little bit of water down at the bottom. Oh, thank goodness, thought the crow. I need a drink or I won't make it home. So the crow hopped up to the pitcher and he tried to get a drink of water, but the water was too far away. And try, he just couldn't reach the water. What was he going to do? He thought, well, I could push the pitcher over, but then all the water would spill out. I could break the pitcher, but that probably would do the same thing, and all the water would drain off the table and into this dry ground before I had a chance to drink it. So he stepped back and he took a deep breath and he started to think. He noticed there were some pebbles around the garden. So one by one, he picked up the pebbles with his beak and he put them in the water. And every time he put in a pebble, the water came up a little bit higher, until finally he got the water all the way to the top of the pitcher, and he had a nice long drink, and he was able to fly all the way back home. Every day when he was flying, he would stop by that same garden. There was always a pitcher of water there. But the lady who owned that garden could never figure out why her pitcher was always full of pebbles. Well, good for the crow. He didn't give up, did he? And this story is a fable, and all fables have a lesson or a moral. The lesson to this one is, where there's a will, there's a way. And what that just means is, you find a way to get done what you need to get done. You don't give up. Have you ever been frustrated? Have you ever really felt like giving up? You stop, you take a breath, you think about what you can do, and you solve the problem, just like the crow did. And don't forget, it's okay to ask for help if you need help too. Well, after I saw that story, I remembered that I have always wanted to try that experiment to see, does it really work? So I have my little crow friend here to help me, and I have some water in a cup. I've put the arrow here so you can see where the level of water is right now. And I've put a little bit of food coloring in there to help it show up a little bit too. And I have all these rocks. Well, when I drop this rock in, the water immediately starts to go up. The rock is solid. When it falls in there, it displaces, it moves some of that water. Now, it wouldn't work if, say, this was a cookie or something like a sponge or something like cotton, because that would soak up the water. It wouldn't move the water. But the rocks, which are solid, keep moving the water up. Can you see where the water is now? Here's where it started, and it's up here now. And our crow can get a drink. You can play that or do that at home, and you can actually treat it like a math game where you can estimate how many rocks it's going to take you to get the water to the level that you want. The other thing I found this week, which kind of was helpful to me, one of the things I struggle with is cutting, and I especially have a hard time when I'm cutting circles. And so I've decided that this is something, because it's hard for me, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to just keep trying harder. And the best way for me to draw circles is to take a jar or something that has a circle shape, and then I trace it onto my paper. The other thing I want to remind you is when you are using scissors, to always cut away from you. And when you have to turn, like you do when you're cutting a circle, you turn the paper. You don't turn the scissors. So I have 4 circles that I cut out. And you can do this at home. And they're all the same size. And I have 3 triangles. And I like cutting out triangles. Those are much easier than circles. And if you take the circles and you glue one on top of the other, just like you would a snowman, and then you take 2 circles, whoops, fold them in half, and you clip those on each side. You're going to start seeing, and I'll hold it up in just a second. You're going to start seeing a shape appear. I have a head and a body and 2 wings. Now I'm going to add my feet. And I'm going to add my beak. What's missing, friends? I'm missing eyes. Well, I was looking around and I was trying to decide what could I use for eyes this week. If you don't have googly eyes at home, that's fine. You can always use a button, or you can use a piece of circle paper that you cut out, or you can even use some beans that you find in the kitchen. And I would probably draw a little dot on each of these beans too. So now you have 2 things to try this week. You can try the experiment with the rocks. You can make your own crow and practice those scissor skills, which are really hard, especially when you're cutting out circles. And then in the description, I have put a link to a packet that has the story that I just told you, and it also has some puzzle pages, and it has a place where you can cut out and do coloring. You can cut out a mask. You can do a maze, or you can make a sock puppet. And all of those are good skills that you can be practicing. I've also added some books in the description of this video. My favorite, all of them are about crows, but my favorite is this one called Old Cricket. And it tells the story of a cricket and a crow and how they try to outsmart each other. And it turns out neither one of them is as smart as another character in this book. So come check out Old Cricket and see if that's one that you would like to try. Well, friends, that's all I have for you today. I hope you have enjoyed the story of the pitcher and the old crow. And until I see you next time, we wave goodbye like this. We wave goodbye like this. We clap our hands and stomp our feet. We wave goodbye like this. Bye for now.